Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bookercast, the podcast where books come to life.
And I'm so excited to dive into another amazing story with all of you.
Whether you're a bookworm or just love a good story, this is the place for you.
Every episode, we explore incredible books, talk about their stories and characters, and share insights that'll make you fall in love with reading all over again.
All right, let's not keep you waiting any longer. Get comfortable, and let's jump right into it.
Sounds good.
All right, get ready, because today we are going deep, deep into one of the most epic poems written ever, I think you could say. Dante's Divine Comedy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you've probably heard of it.
Right.
Maybe even read a few lines here and there.
Of course.
But this deep dive is all about, like getting to the heart of it.
Yeah.
Why it matters so much and why it stuck around for so long.
Well, it really is amazing how a work from, the 14th century can still hit us so hard today.
I know, it's crazy.
But Dante, he was doing more than just writing a poem, right?
Yeah.
He was really trying to work through these, huge questions about life and death and everything in between.
And he just paints these pictures in your mind.
Right.
Of hell and purgatory and paradise.
Yeah.
I mean, they've just stuck with people, for centuries.
Absolutely.
So where do we even start with something this massive?
Well, we know Dante was a poet, right? But he was also, a super keen observer of, human nature, what makes us tick. Yeah. A deep thinker, too. Yeah. Really influenced by guys like Aristotle.
Oh, yeah.
And it's that mix of artistic, brilliance and philosophical depth that makes the Divine Comedy so unique.
I see. Okay, so we've got this poet/philosopher.
Right.
And he's dropping us right into the middle of the Middle Ages, right?
Right.
What's the scene there?
Well,
and what's pushing Dante on this journey he's taking us on?
So picture Italy in the 14th century, a time of just crazy political turmoil, tons of religious fervor, and all this intense intellectual debate. And Dante himself, he was right in the thick of it all. I mean, he was even exiled from his home city, Florence.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's with all that as a backdrop that he writes the Divine Comedy.
Wow.
This epic journey through the afterlife, But it's also a reflection on the human condition itself. What does it mean to be human?
So it's not just some fantastical adventure story.
Oh, no.
It's deeply rooted in the stuff that was happening around him.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. And what's so fascinating is how Dante takes these very real anxieties, about politics and morality, the fate of the soul, and turns them into this epic journey. It's an allegory.
Mm-hmm.
The Divine Comedy is divided into 3 parts: Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso.
Okay.
And each one represents a stage in the soul's journey toward, redemption.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit, this 3-part structure.
Sure. Yeah.
We start with Inferno, the most, infamous part of the whole journey, right?
Oh, yeah.
What is Dante's version of hell like? And what's he trying to tell us or show us there?
Well, Dante's hell, it isn't just some random fiery pit, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very structured, meticulously structured with 9 circles, each one representing a category of sin and each with punishments that, fit the crime.
Full on.
It reflects this belief Dante had in divine justice.
Yeah.
The idea that there's a moral order to the universe and that what we do has consequences.
So it's like he's created this map of the human soul, almost,
Yeah.
showing us all the ways we can, get lost, go astray.
Yeah.
And what might happen as a result of those choices.
Exactly. And it's not just about scaring people into being good. It's about exploring, the nature of sin itself, how it warps our desires, how it messes up our relationships, and ultimately just leads us away from, our true purpose.
And he does this by taking us on this crazy, visceral journey, through these 9 circles of hell, each one more, harrowing than the last.
Yeah. Right.
What are some of the key stops on this descent?
Well, right from the start.
Okay.
As Dante enters the gates of hell, he's met with that famous inscription, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here."
Chills, literal chill.
It sets the tone for everything that comes after this realm of despair, where, those who have lost their way are eternally punished.
Talk about setting the stage.
Right.
Okay, so Dante's in hell. No hope in sight?
Nope.
Who does he meet on this journey? Give us some of the highlights.
Okay, well, one of the first encounters is with Charon,
Oh, yeah?
the ferryman, from Greek mythology.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the one who transports souls across the river Acheron into hell.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really powerful image, I think, that kind of shows how universal death is.
Yeah.
And the idea that we all face judgment in the afterlife.
So even in this Christian vision of hell he's weaving in stuff from classical mythology, too.
Right. It's interesting.
Yeah, makes it familiar, but also really unsettling.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then there's Cerberus,
Uh-huh.
the three-headed dog guarding the circle of gluttony.
Yeah, yeah.
And his three heads, they symbolize that insatiable nature of that sin, always wanting more, never satisfied.
It's a very, vivid image.
Right.
It really captures, how destructive desire can be if it's unchecked.
Absolutely.
That's definitely one that sticks with you.
I think so.
But it's not just monsters, right? I mean, Dante encounters real people.
Like historical figures, maybe even people he actually knew.
Totally. And one of the most famous encounters is with Francesca da Rimini and Paolo Malatesta,
Mm-hmm.
these lovers who are condemned to the circle of lust for their affair.
Right.
And their story, it's so tragic and captivating because it makes you think about, love and desire and free will, all that stuff.
It's true. Because they aren't portrayed as, villains or anything.
No.
You can feel their passion and their longing,
Mm-hmm.
even as you see, what happened because of their choices.
Right.
So how does Dante even handle this journey? I mean, he's not alone down in hell, is he?
No, he has a guide, the Roman poet Virgil,
Oh, okay.
who represents human reason.
Okay.
And Virgil leads Dante through all these horrors and explains, what sin is, the principles of divine justice, all that.
So it's not just a physical trip.
Yeah.
It's an intellectual and spiritual one, too.
Exactly.
But wait a minute. Why Virgil? I mean, wasn't he a pagan poet?
That's a great question. Dante's choice of Virgil, it's very deliberate, very symbolic, I think.
Okay.
It shows how he believed that even people who lived before Christ, could still have wisdom and virtue.
Right.
And that reason can lead us to a better understanding of, ourselves and the world.
Right.
But it also kind of hints at the limits of human reason.
Uh-huh.
Virgil can only take Dante so far on this journey.
I see.
To get to paradise, he'll need another guide,
Okay.
one who embodies divine love. But we'll get to that later.
I'll get to that later. All right.
Yeah.
So we've got Virgil representing human reason, guiding Dante through this meticulously structured, version of hell.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of all this? Take us through all this sin and suffering.
Well, Dante's Inferno is a very stark warning about, what happens when you stray from, the path of righteousness.
Right.
It's a reminder that our choices really matter.
Yeah.
Our actions have consequences, and we should really try to live according to virtue and reason.
So it's not just about what happens after we die, but how we live our lives now.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the power of sin, how it can corrupt us, destroy us.
Yeah.
But also about the possibility of redemption, of choosing a better path, one that leads to, light and love.
Right.
But to fully understand that journey, we need to move on
Okay.
to the next stage, to Purgatorio,
Okay.
where Dante's journey takes a whole new turn.
All right. So let's leave behind the fiery depths of hell
Yeah.
and ascend to Purgatorio.
Oh.
What's waiting for Dante there? What's the vibe like compared to Inferno?
Yeah, so if Inferno was all about, the hard reality of sin and what it does to us,
Right.
Purgatorio is about the possibility of changing,
Okay.
of becoming purified, of climbing back, towards the light.
So we're trading the fire and brimstone for
Yeah.
what? What exactly? What's Dante's version of Purgatory like?
So imagine a huge mountain
Okay.
rising up from an island way down in the southern hemisphere. And it's a place where souls are actively working to cleanse themselves of the sins that are, weighing them down.
Okay.
Each terrace on the mountain represents a different category of sin.
Mm-hmm.
And the souls there, they go through these symbolic punishments and trials
Yeah.
to, purge themselves of those vices.
So it's not just suffering passively like in hell.
No.
They're actively involved in trying to redeem themselves.
Exactly. The souls in purgatory, they're not condemned. They're there because they chose to be.
Wow.
They want to be purified so they can get to paradise.
Yeah.
And there's this feeling of hope, even joy in their suffering.
Really?
Because they know it won't last forever. It's a necessary step, on the path to ultimate bliss.
Okay, I'm definitely getting a very different feeling here.
Right.
The Inferno.
Yeah.
I mean, Dante's already gone through hell.
He has.
What's changed for him as he enters Purgatorio?
Well, remember, Dante's journey isn't just a physical one, right? It's about his inner transformation, too.
Hmm?
As he climbs Mount Purgatory, he sheds his own, attachments to sin.
Yeah.
He confronts his own flaws. He seeks forgiveness.
Okay.
He's not just watching anymore. He's a participant in this purification.
But he's still got Virgil with him, right?
He does.
So reason still has a part to play here.
Yes. Virgil keeps guiding Dante through Purgatory.
Okay.
He uses reason and logic to explain, how the soul is purified and the challenges they'll face.
Okay.
But, and this is where it gets really interesting, Virgil can't go any further than the top of Mount Purgatory. Yeah, he's a symbol of human reason, and human reason can only take us so far,
Okay.
On our spiritual journey,
Right.
to enter paradise, Dante needs a new guide,
Okay.
someone who embodies a different kind of wisdom.
So we got to talk about Beatrice.
We do.
I mean, she's been mentioned a few times, but now she's finally here.
Yeah.
So who is she to Dante, and what does she represent?
Beatrice is the woman Dante loved from afar when he was young.
Okay.
She's a figure that's, stayed in his imagination.
Yeah.
But in the Divine Comedy, she represents something much bigger than just romantic love.
Right.
She embodies divine love.
Okay.
The power of grace that can, lead the soul to God.
So we're moving past earthly love
Yes.
into something more transcendent, spiritual.
Absolutely.
And it's Beatrice who takes Dante through paradise.
When Dante gets to the top of Mount Purgatory, Virgil says goodbye.
Oh, wow.
He knows he can't guide Dante any further.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's a really powerful moment that shows the limits of, just human reason.
Right.
And the need for divine grace if you want to reach the ultimate goal. And then Beatrice appears.
Wow.
Radiant, glorious, ready to lead Dante through the celestial realms of paradise.
Okay, so let's make that leap into Paradiso. We're moving from the physical and symbolic landscapes of hell and purgatory into something more abstract, more spiritual.
Right.
What's the essence of Dante's Paradise?
Imagine a realm of just pure light, music, and love.
Wow.
Where souls just bask in the eternal presence of God.
Okay.
Paradiso is Dante's attempt to describe the indescribable, to show what it feels like to experience divine love and the ultimate fulfillment of the soul.
Yeah.
He uses these amazing images and all these intricate philosophical and theological concepts to create this vision of heaven, a realm that's beyond our earthly understanding.
So it's a realm beyond words, beyond reason almost.
It is.
How does he even begin to describe something so vast and incomprehensible?
It's a challenge, for sure.
Yeah.
He uses metaphors of light and music and dance to get across the beauty and harmony of paradise. He meets saints and angels who embody different virtues and aspects of divine wisdom.
Okay.
But ultimately, Paradiso is about what it feels like to be in the presence of God. It's a state of pure love and bliss that you just can't put into words.
I see. So it's hard to really wrap your mind around that.
It is.
It's interesting, though, how he shows this spiritual ascent through these three different realms.
Yeah.
It makes me think about how the soul progresses in life. You face temptation, you make mistakes, then you learn and grow.
Yeah.
You aim for something better, and hopefully, if all goes well, you find some kind of peace and fulfillment.
That's a beautiful connection.
Yeah.
And remember, Dante's journey, it's not just his own.
Right.
It represents what every soul could go through.
Yeah.
He's showing us the possibilities, the challenges, and the ultimate goal of being human.
Okay, so let's go back to those big things we've been talking about.
Okay.
Sin, redemption, and divine justice.
Yeah.
How do they all fit together in the Divine Comedy?
Well, think about it like this. Sin, for Dante, is anything that separates us from God, from love, from our true selves.
Okay.
It's turning away from the light, descending into darkness. But redemption, it's always possible. It's the process of turning back to the light, of cleaning ourselves of sin.
Right.
And striving to be reunited with, the divine.
Okay.
And divine justice. That's the principle that governs this whole process.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about punishment just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
It's about restoring balance, about aligning ourselves with the moral order of the universe.
So even in the Inferno, where we see these really harsh consequences of sin,
Yeah.
there's still this underlying message of hope, of the possibility of redemption.
Exactly. The Divine Comedy is ultimately a hopeful work.
Okay.
It's about the soul's journey toward light and love.
Yeah.
A journey that's full of challenges, but that ultimately leads to, fulfillment and union with the divine.
What really strikes me about the Divine Comedy is how it's lasted so long. I mean, it was written over 700 years ago.
I know, it's crazy.
And people are still reading it and connecting with it today.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? What makes this poem so enduring?
I think it's a few things.
Okay.
First, the way Dante describes the afterlife, it's so vivid, so imaginative. It captures our imagination and speaks to our deepest fears and hopes about what comes after this life.
Yeah.
Second, his exploration of these universal themes like love, loss, sin, redemption, they resonate with people across cultures and time.
Right.
We all deal with these things no matter what we believe or where we come from.
It's like he's tapping into something, I don't know, fundamental about being human.
Yeah.
This need for meaning, this search for purpose.
Absolutely.
Trying to make sense of life and death. And third, Dante is just a brilliant poet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, his use of language and imagery, it just elevates this work to, art. Even in translation, you can feel the power and beauty of his words.
Yeah.
The way he uses language to create an experience that's, intellectually stimulating, but also emotionally moving.
It's true.
All right, before we finish up, I want to touch on something that really hit me when we were preparing for this deep dive. Dante's idea of sin as a crime against humanity.
Yeah.
It's powerful. And it made me think about how relevant that idea is today.
Oh, absolutely.
When Dante portrays sin as a betrayal of who we truly are,
Yeah.
a violation of human relationships, it hits home, on a personal level.
It does.
It makes you think about what your actions do.
Yeah.
Not just in some abstract way,
Right.
but in terms of how they affect other people. It's like he's saying that sin isn't just between us and God.
Right.
It's about how we treat each other, how we build trust or break it,
Yeah.
how we contribute to or take away from the well-being of our communities.
Absolutely.
And that message, I think, is timeless.
It is.
It's like a call to look at our own choices, to think about how our actions impact those around us.
Yeah.
And to try to live in a way that honors, our shared humanity.
So true.
So even though the Divine Comedy takes place in the afterlife,
Yeah.
it has a lot to say about how we live our lives right now.
Exactly. It reminds us that our choices matter, that we have the power to shape our own destinies, and that even in the darkest of times, there's always a chance for redemption for ourselves and for the world around us.
What stands out to you most about Dante's journey and what it means for us today? I mean, we've only scratched the surface here,
Right.
but I'm curious what really resonates with you.
What strikes me most is Dante's insistence that even in the middle of hell, even when you're faced with the worst of humanity, there's always hope.
Yeah.
There's always the possibility of turning toward the light,
Right.
of seeking redemption, of finding love and meaning.
And that's something we all need to hear.
Absolutely.
It's funny, as we've been discussing this idea of sin and hope in Dante's work, it makes me think about the way the Divine Comedy is structured.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just like a bunch of random stories thrown together.
Right.
It's this very deliberate journey from darkness to light.
It is. It is.
And even the poetry style he chose, terza rima, it has this feeling of momentum, that it pulls you along with Dante on his journey.
It's true that terza rima, with those interlocking rhymes, it creates a sense of inevitability.
Right.
Of moving forward one step at a time towards a goal.
Exactly.
And it reflects Dante's own spiritual growth, as he climbs from hell all the way to paradise.
It's like the poem itself is a stairway to heaven.
I like that.
And the rhyme scheme is the rhythm of the climb.
Yeah.
And speaking of, poetic brilliance, we got to talk about Dante's imagery.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he doesn't just tell you what he's seeing.
Yeah.
He paints these pictures with words that, stick with you.
They do.
Long after you've finished reading.
Absolutely.
His descriptions are so vivid, so real.
Yeah.
Think about how he describes those souls in the circle of lust.
Oh, yeah.
Tossed around by that crazy wind, symbolizing, how they have no control, their inability to find peace.
Powerful stuff.
Or that image of the frozen lake, the ninth circle of hell.
Yeah.
Where those traitors are trapped in ice. Their coldness mirroring, the coldness of their betrayal.
It's so striking.
Those images, they're so strong, so disturbing.
Yeah.
but you can't forget them.
You can't.
It's like he's reaching into our deepest fears and desires and making these ideas of sin and redemption come alive in a way you can almost feel.
You really feel it.
But it's not just those dark images, right?
No.
Think about how he describes paradise.
Oh, yeah.
The radiant light, the music, the harmony.
The souls dancing.
Yeah.
In the presence of God.
He uses language to create this almost like transcendent experience.
He does.
Drawing you into this realm of pure bliss.
It's hard to imagine.
Right. Like, how do you even put that into words?
It really is.
It's like he's giving us a glimpse of what could be, a taste of the divine.
Yeah.
But it's not just the imagery either.
No.
He's amazing with metaphors.
Oh, absolutely.
Symbolism, using words to create all these different layers of meaning.
Every little detail, every character, every encounter, it all seems to have a symbolic meaning,
Yeah.
Pointing to something deeper.
Right.
Inviting us to dig a little further, uncover those hidden meanings.
It's like he's created this new language.
Yeah.
The language of the soul,
I love
one that can still speak to us across centuries.
Yeah.
Even if we don't, get all the little details from his time.
Exactly. And that's part of what makes the Divine Comedy so genius. You can enjoy it on so many different levels.
Right.
You can enjoy the story, the imagery, the beauty of the words.
Yeah.
But then you can also go deeper. Explore the philosophy, the theology, the history, the politics, the psychology, the spiritual insights.
It just keeps giving the more you put into it.
Exactly.
So for someone who might be, a little intimidated by the Divine Comedy,
right.
It's long, it's complex, it has this reputation of being really serious.
Yeah.
What would you say to them? How do you unlock its power?
I'd say just jump in, Start with Inferno.
Okay.
Get swept away by the story, the images, the characters. Don't worry too much about understanding every detail or figuring out every symbol. Just experience it.
Yeah.
Let it wash over you.
I like that.
And then, if you're hooked, you can start digging deeper, read the commentaries, the essays, different translations.
It's like any great work of art, really.
Exactly.
You don't need to be an expert to appreciate it.
Nope.
To be moved by it, to find your own meaning in it.
And the Divine Comedy is more than just a poem.
Right.
It's an experience,
Yeah.
a journey that can challenge you, inspire you, even transform you. It's something that can stay with you.
Yeah.
Offering new insights every time you come back to it.
It's like Dante says at the end of Paradiso.
Yeah.
My vision now surpassed all human speech, and memory, too, fails such excess of light. It's basically saying, look, language has its limits.
Right.
You can't fully capture the divine in words.
No.
But he still tries.
He does.
And in trying, he creates something truly amazing.
And that's the power of art, right?
Yeah.
To point us towards something bigger than ourselves, something greater, something we can catch a glimpse of, but never fully grasp.
Yeah.
And the Divine Comedy, with its incredible vision and its honesty, gives us one of the most profound and lasting glimpses of that, something more.
Beautifully said. And for everyone listening, we'd love to hear what you think. What resonates with you about Dante's Divine Comedy?
Yeah.
What questions does it raise for you? Share your thoughts with us, and let's keep this conversation going.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Bookercast. We hope you enjoyed diving into it as much as we did. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Your support means the world, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts on this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this episode with your fellow book lovers. And let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. See you in the next deep dive. Bye for now, and happy reading.